Hi Caitlin, it's Fancy and I'm looking at your design and looking to see what you did with it. You weren't here on last Wednesday. I don't really know what your design process is, so all I can do at this point is kind of guess what your strategies are. Um, to me it looks like you are using maybe double and triple visual pathways. Um, and maybe single visual pathways. It's a little difficult to tell. Right now it's dividing into mostly blue on the right side and mostly the stimulus color or the afterimage color on the left side. The gradations that you make with that one can make with the perceptual opposites are a bit more subtle than with the other scales that we've worked with. But in some of the areas there's not a lot of gradation here. There's no gradation here. Starting to have gradation here. There's some gradation here. There's some gradation here, but it's not very smooth gradation from here to here. So in other words, the composition really isn't unifying well. You do have areas of fire where the perceptual opposites at its most pure are next to each other. Sorry, there was an interruption. So as I was saying, it's not really unifying yet. Again, you have fire with perceptual opposites next to each other, but if you think of the in focus, out of focus objective, so fire is in focus, boundaries look in focus, shapes look in focus, and water is where the shapes look out of focus. That seems to work better for me in thinking about the designs than maybe the fire versus the water. And so a large portion of this will be out of focus with just your fire, a little bit of fire in focus at strategic places to help lead the viewer's eye around. So you have this very soft effect, and then at strategic locations within the composition, it will suddenly come into focus because the perceptual opposites are placed next to each other out of this sea of chromatic grays. But first you have to get the composition balanced. I told people in critique last Wednesday that maybe they should approach it as they would any other project. They could, choose what strategies they want to work with. In your case, visual pathways. And then you work and make sure that every part of this composition is a part of a visual pathway, and the pathways are unified and they're balanced and they're easy for the viewer to follow throughout the composition. And then after that's all said and done and you're satisfied with it, then you go back and you start to put in more of the chromatic grays. And you start to kind of blur the boundaries between different pathways. So right now there's too much in focus and not enough out of focus. There's not a lot of gradation happening and there's not enough water. So I don't know what you can do at this point in time. We've got about less than 7 hours. A lot can be done in less than 7 hours. Your other parts look good, your scale and your chart, so I will leave it at that.